No. 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 We got a Sultan Smoocher. We got a Sultan Smoocher, folks. Impressive.
Malison: The Cursed City is a fantasy survival horror RPG published by Devolver Digital, currently in development, in which you investigate a sinister city filled with hundreds of grotesque monsters, demons, and weirdos. It focuses on exploration and atmosphere. Its main influences are both classic Western RPGs like Baldur's Gate, Japanese RPGs like Final Fantasy, as well as survival horror games such as the Resident Evil and Silent Hill series. As you sneak through the city, you encounter all sorts of strange characters, many of which you can speak to, trade with, recruit to your cause, steal from, or even attack if you so choose. You can approach this game in a million ways. It's up to you how you plan to survive. Your actions may lead to wealth, disaster, betrayal, or may even lead to uncovering some of the city's darkest secrets and the game's many hidden endings. The main character is no powerful hero. You awaken in the city transformed into a weak, frail goblin and may need to rely on desperate measures for your survival. You will likely need help from other survivors you meet, and it is up to you to decide who you trust and recruit to your cause. Combat is in a classic turn-based style with a focus on managing scarce resources and building unique strategies by recruiting all sorts of different party members, equipping them and teaching them new skills. Monsters move closer to you during combat, increasing the threat and tension as they begin using their more devastating attacks. You do not want them too close. I stream development work of Malison Tuesday to Friday at 7 p.m. EST on Twitch. I also have new development update streams on Sunday nights at 8 p.m. EST. There is also a Discord you can join for the game. Check below.
All right, folks, let's get started. So, all right, so yeah, another day of playtesting concluded today, and we've actually extended the playtesting into next week. So they've added 2 more playtest days, Tuesday and Wednesday next week. And I'll be trying to get some things ready as much as possible over the course of the weekend for this to be ready by the time they're back. So yeah, we're right now, we'll see, but the update might be ready for like Wednesday night or maybe Thursday. It's looking like next week is gonna be it could be ready next week, like sometime halfway through or maybe at the end of next week. There could be a little bit more because I might not be done with some of the graphical updates. So we'll see. I'll try to get it all ready for that. This weekend I'll focus on all the fixes and all the little tweaks and the fixes from the bugs they found and all this. And unless, if next week, if they find some major bugs, that might delay it further. But we'll see. Yeah, we'll see by the end of those 2 extra days. We'll see where the game is at. And yeah, hopefully we should have something. We should have the next version ready next week. That'd be nice. Since I started the stream a little bit later, I got my hot cocoa ready right away. There we go. Okay, so let's go through some more polish and some more tweaking. Let's go through some more tweaking here. Oh, yes. Okay, so I have a few things I wanted to do here. I'll add these to the list. So one is a few things I want to add to the landlord's apartment. A few things that have been on my list of things to add for a while now. And one of them... there we go. One of them is actually to get to put something in that room over here that has been empty for something. I always wanted to put something here, and then it just never happened, and so it's just been it's just been a puzzlingly empty room here. I'm thinking this could be a little cache of bullets. That'd be nice. I think a little cache of bullets here would be good. Yeah, the reaction does help make this place feel like it's a little bit worth it, but yeah, let's put in some ammo here. Let's put in some ammo here. Maybe 8. Well, I mean, we're looking into console ports, but yeah, it isn't a simple matter for sure. It's not a simple matter, but we are looking into it. Oh, am I quiet right now? Okay, hang on. Let me lower the volume a little bit. Is that better? There you go. Yeah, we're looking into it. Yeah, we're looking into translations. But we're starting with just one language to we're starting with just one language to test out how translation is going to work on a project like this, because it's a very it's a project with a very high word count, and it's a little odd. So we're starting with just one language to see how the process works, and then we'll expand to some other languages. No, no, we use we use a professional we use a professional translation teams. We're not. It's not something that we'll be doing ourselves. And Devolver has like a number of languages that they usually support. It's like 8 or 12 languages or so. We're just starting with one language to just try the process, because RPG Maker. I think I explained this before, but RPG Maker is a little weird. You know, like there's a lot of tools to help translating, but they're not very like they're meant to be tools for hobbyists, and big translation kind of companies are not really used to working with these kinds of tools, and so getting them like what they need to do the localization is a little complicated. Um, so there's some complications with that. So yeah, that's why we're starting with just one language to just figure out exactly how to extract the text in a way that they're gonna like, and then getting the back and forth, and then putting the text back in. But yeah, for now we're just starting with one language, and then from there we'll see some. Yeah, yeah. So that's the thing. There's a lot of tools that helps like hobbyists make translations. Um, like there's a tool to just automatically translate an entire game in just a few minutes, right? Like there's a tool you can use right now to instantly like machine translate an entire RPG Maker game. And a lot of people use that in order to play RPG Maker games that aren't translated yet. They just use that tool to just translate it on the fly and play it. And this is why Look Outside, before it was even released, when it was just a Game Jam prototype, within like a few days, if like a week of the Game Jam prototype being out, there was already a video of someone playing it in like Korean, I think, online. Because yeah, they had just used that tool. Like RPG Maker games have a lot of tools to very quickly translate them, but they're not really the kinds of tools that you know that like big professional firms use. And getting things to work with how they work is a little more complicated. It's not quite as easy. RPG Maker is probably the easiest way to get into making RPGs. But yes, I would recommend you go with RPG Maker if you want to try it. Yeah, it's going to be your easiest introduction to making RPGs. Making RPGs with any other engine is a lot more work. Well, with Malison, it should be a little easier to get translations. So we might just have multiple localizations on launch for Malison. Because with Malison, I actually set up the entire game to be more localizable. Like the entire game's text is in like an external spreadsheet. So it's all ready for translation, basically. So it's already like all set up for it in a way that's going to fit like localizers. I just can't really do that with an RPG Maker game. I need to like use a program that extracts all of the text and puts it in a form somewhere, and then so that people can translate it, and then I need to like re-import it, and that's the process that gets weird. Um, so yeah, with RPG Maker is just a little weirder. Um, but if you're a hobbyist with RPG Maker, translating is actually much easier. It's just it doesn't the way it works doesn't fit easily with a bigger, a bigger translation firm. It's just not a very smooth. Like the most popular translation, popular translation plugin for RPG Maker is really easy. That's the one I was talking about. Like you literally can just hit a button to machine translate the entire thing on the fly. Like there's almost no work involved. It's crazy. But it's like it has some issues with it that makes it kind of unacceptable for like an official translation. Like there's a bunch of stuff that doesn't work at all. And it's like there's a bunch of stuff that makes it impossible to make certain things well translated with it. So it's like it's perfect for like a hobbyist, right? But as soon as you have like if you have like you have standards, you want to have something be an official translation, that's where, that's where you kind of hit a wall with that plugin. Yeah, yeah, you can't. Yes, you can't. You can't have someone's translation. You can't have like someone's like fan translation and just take it and like make it official. That's there's a lot of legal exposure to doing this. Yeah, you can't do that. Even if you get an agreement, there's like so many ways this can go wrong. It's like a huge legal exposure to do that. It's a really bad idea to do that. Like even if the person that translated it gets it to you in writing that they just give you the translation, they can still basically sue you for like the money you make for the game on it afterwards. Like it's not you don't want to do that. you yeah, big legal exposure to doing this. You don't want to do that. I just spent 15 minutes answering that question, Mr. Ram. That's what I was just talking about for like 15 minutes. Maybe check the the VOD later. My favorite character I've designed for Look Outside. Um, Tickle's definitely up there. As far as like monster design, it's probably the Hell Ride. It's probably Hell Ride. Well, it's relieved me of workload for like as far as like marketing a game and getting it published and knowing all the ins and outs of that because I don't know much about that. I don't know much about marketing. Uh, I don't know much about like reaching out to content, you know, content creators and all that. Um, I don't have any. I don't have contacts in the industry. I don't have like a huge list of people to send marketing material for. I don't have experience building marketing material. Um, that's a lot of stuff that I just have absolutely no experience with that they were all able to do for me. And also, the biggest thing for Devolver, though, is their name recognition. The name recognition of Devolver is pretty huge to have attached to your project. Like a lot of people gave this game a try that probably wouldn't have given it a chance if Devolver's name wasn't attached to it. Like Devolver's name being attached to it just makes a lot of people give something a chance, where they would have probably ignored it otherwise. That's just like that name recognition itself is worth a lot. And also, yeah, they have like producers. They have, they connect me with play testers. So the game has had professional play testing. Um, you know, they have, I have a producer that that helps kind of keep the project on track. So there's a lot of things. There's a lot of ways that having a publisher's helped. But yes, Devolver, like the biggest part of it is the credibility that having them attached to your work gives you. Just makes a lot more people give your game a chance. No, generally Devolver, I mean, I don't know like every deal that Devolver's had, but generally with Devolver, the deal they give you is that you keep the rights to your game, and they only have like distribution rights essentially, or something like that. Like there's going to be some different, um, but yes, generally. But you always, you can never presume this about a deal if you just because you were told that that's what they usually do. If you get a contract, you got to read it. You got to make sure that you have those rights. I mean, sometimes it might be worth it to not actually have the rights to it but if you don't have the rights, you should be paid a lot more money for it, because that means you're not just, they're getting a lot more out of the deal if they keep if they get to keep the IP. So, but yes, you should start from the standpoint that you keep the IP rights. And if you don't keep the IP rights, they gotta pay, That's worth a lot. That is worth a lot of money. And also, that's the norm for Devolver. That doesn't mean it's the norm in general. It's going to be very publisher specific, right? Like some publishers, they want to accumulate IP, right? For some publishers, obtaining more IP is like one of their goals. They just want to be able to tell their shareholders that they've gained this and that new IP, right? So depending on like the kind of publisher you have and the kind of priorities they have, some of them it might basically be impossible for you to keep the IP because they never let people keep the IP, right? Like for some of them, letting you keep the IP means you get a much worse deal in every other way because they just don't want that. They want, to them, the IP is like very, very valuable, right? So that's going to be a very publisher specific thing. Like, and I feel like that might be like very publisher specific, right? I think it might be like the kind of thing where it's like some publishers just never want the IP, they're not really interested, and some others, you know, might always want the IP. I don't know if there's a lot of like middle of the road ones. I mean, there might be. But that's my impression, is that it's very specific to like, you know, the publisher's goals there. But yes, the thing is though, I'm not that useful to figure out like how publishers are because I've really only had one. And so, you know, like I've really only had experience with one publisher. So that limits quite a bit. And also, importantly, I've really only had experience with one publisher with so far like only one game that did well, right? So that's another thing. If you're going to get a publisher, right? If you're going to get a publisher, you really want to ask if you can find ways to contact people who've worked with that publisher before, right? That's a good idea to ask them, hey, how was it to work with them, right? But also, more importantly, if you can find someone who's dealt with that publisher before and with whom the project didn't work out, that's very valuable to know, because there might be some publishers that are really friendly and everything's nice as long as everything's going smoothly, but if things go awry, suddenly they throw you under the bus, right? So like, and you're not going to know this if you only ask people with whom things went really well, because these people will never have seen the other side, right? So yes, that's another thing. If you can get some opinions, not just for a publisher, any sort of company, any sort of company that you know you're about to get into like a big relationship with, a big business relationship with, it's a good idea to ask around for people who worked with them before, and people who work with them before with whom the project didn't work out. It's especially valuable info, because that's when you'll see, like, you know, if the mask falls and they turn into like a shark if things don't work out, right? Like, that's important to know. And like some of them, they're not gonna. Some of them are gonna value their relationship with the developers and having a good reputation more. And some of them are gonna be more sort of short-term profit, and they're gonna just burn bridges as soon as things go awry, right? And you're not gonna know this. You're not gonna know this easily if you only speak to the successful, you know. So that's a little thing here. So yeah. But that's not even just like a publisher thing. It's really just in any kind of business, you know, with any kind of business relationship. That's good stuff to know. Now, okay, I feel like I've put a lot of rewards in here. Maybe I should also put in a bit more of a threat on the way, huh? How about that? Maybe I should put something to guard this, just to have a little bit more of a battle in there. Yeah, maybe a heavily armed. Maybe. I think I only put one heavily armed guy in there, right? I think there's only one in the whole game right now, right? Yeah, I think there's only one. A rocket launcher there could be pretty evil. I kind of like the rocket launcher being unique, though. I kind of like the rocket launcher being just one guy. Let's see. I mean, I'm not against the thought of making a new guy for this, but we're kind of down by the wire. So I kind of want to check to see if I have some unused assets that could maybe be turned into a guy there. Like maybe I have some unused assets still that I could repurpose into a new guy. Do I have anything? I feel like what was... I feel like there was an unused guy somewhere. Like I think... Yeah, there was like an unused guy as part of like the blackout... Like the blackout enemies, right? Of course, some guy. If I found a guy I forgot about here. Oh, what about this guy? The sketchy early version of what was going to be. Yeah, one of the early versions of. Yeah, these were like early versions. These were like early versions of the. These were early versions of the landlord. Yeah, the snail tank, very Tarkus. The snail tank is very Tarkus, with the jaws for like the toothy. I could put the snail tank in there for sure. I think I will. I would shrink it though, because that's a lot of detailing to do there. That's a lot of detailing, but I kind of like that. I think I might put the snail tank there. You know, it makes me want to hear that. It makes me want to listen to Tarkus. So I think I'll put on Tarkus. You wouldn't understand. You wouldn't understand. You need some prog. I'll turn on the music. Turn out the music a little bit. Although, I mean, the start of Tarkus is really quiet. Yeah, these are teeth threads. Jaw threads. Yeah, I was shrinking it a little bit. But yeah, the reason this is sort of Tarkus Tarkus-esque is that Tarkus's cover is full of these like military chimeras. This is this is Tarkus, the cover of the album you're hearing now. And there in the inside there's like a little story about like some chimeras battling, like some sort of big war between some other chimeric. Oh, I can't get a good. Come on. Just show me the damn thing. Show me the damn thing. There we go. That's the front cover. Look at that. Look at that guy. Are they gonna show the other? There you go. That's the inside cover. We got a manticore over here. We got a weird grasshopper lizard tank missile launcher thing. Over here, there's one thing that's dead there. I think. Oh, that's that guy dead. I think. Yeah. So the Tarkus is born from a volcano and then fights this thing, and then fights a manticore, and then there's a pterosaur jet thing, and then in the end, the Tarkus gets killed by the manticore and drowns in a river. Alas. Alas. So this is the musical journey you're about to embark on. War is hell, it's true. As the dawn never seen your eyes, have the days made you so unwise, realize you are. Something else I want to add tonight. I'm probably not going to fully detail this guy. I'm just gonna clean it up a little bit because I do want to work on the actual additions to that. So I want to add some dig areas for. I want to finish basically like the two sort of half-done quests of the landlord apartment that have been waiting for way too long. I want to add at least like 2 or 3 more caches you can find. And add a few places where you can dig up some treasure with a metal detector. Because yeah, there's... has been overgrown, never known. Do 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 do.
Oh no, it's time to stretch.
Let's do a little stretch. Hey, folks. Welcome. Thanks for the raid, AFK Tenchi. I'm glad you liked it. You just finished? You just beat it? Nice. Clear the battlefield and let me see all the profit from our victory. Way there to watch the earth be scorched. Was Targus? How about Trilogy? That's another good one. Love Trilogy. Is that... I don't know if Trilogy might be my favorite ELP. It might be. It might be. It was fun to work with Lumpy Touch. We did a few game jams. We tried to lie, but you and I know better than to let each other lie. The thought of lying to you makes me cry. Counting up the fastest. I was never hoping it will reach you. And if it does, I hope that you would understand that I will see in a while. And though my smile, you know, the smile is only lit to hide what I'm really feeling. Okay. I think that's looking all right. How about if on top of this might be too much. This might be over designing, but I just have a thought. You know, there's this phenomenon where soldiers customize their tanks by adding a bunch of shit on top that are not actually like protecting them anymore, right? They actually don't add any protection. It's just in their heads, you know? It's just to sort of feel safer. There's like a term for them. Cope cages, yes. Cope cages. Yeah. What if that was something that what if that was actually the drop that what if this was the drop that Audrey could get from defeating the snail tank? What if Audrey could get a cope cage? That'd be pretty good. That could help sort of her tank archetype. Yeah, maybe that would give her a bunch of yeah, a bunch of yeah, it could give her like fear, panic resist. That'd be fun. Hey, thanks for the raid, Soft Gremlin. Let's see. What do I put on next? Maybe it would be an accessory. So it would be one of the only Audrey specific accessories. All right. What do I put on here for music? How about Big Elf? Feeling like some Big Elf right now. Oh, nice. That's awesome. Yeah, there's some cope cages. There's some cope cages. They're very goofy looking. I mean, I kind of like the aesthetic, honestly. I kind of like the aesthetic of them, to be honest. It's very Mad Max. Might be a little tricky though. the description, the description of the cope cage. Maybe it should be like, well, it's better than nothing, eh? Or maybe, oh well, you know, it can't hurt. It's gonna give 10% resistance to blast damage. 10% blast damage resist. Right, it is often like recovered from like destroyed tanks, right? So it actually kind of makes sense that Audrey retrieves it. It's definitely not gonna be named Snake. Alright, stop repeating yourselves in chat. I'll start banning. I'll start banning. Alright, for now, I'll leave this one at that. I think that shows the general idea. Do 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 do.
Oh no, it's time to stretch.
Alright, let's do a little stretch. Let's do a little stretch. Mac version is possible. I think it's possible. Yeah, isn't there a Mac export? I think there is. I mean, the problem with this is always more. Yeah, you can export from Mac OS. You can export from Mac OS here. The only problem is that it needs its own playtesting, so we will need to set aside playtesting for it. So once I'm really done with the updates, it'll be doable. But we'll need to do a playtest session for it. There you go. That is now Audrey's cope cage. Well, it can't hurt, can it? That's gonna be... I think it would be an accessory. I think it would be the only Audrey-specific accessory. So Audrey can usually only equip... Like, can't equip any accessories. That one's gonna be specific. And it's gonna reduce agility by 6. It's gonna increase luck by 5. Defense by 5. Bullet defense by 5. It's going to give a little bit of blast resist. And it's going to give some resistance to panic. Rage. Confusion. And also maybe stun as well. There you go. Increases blast, stun, panic, rage, and confusion. Resist. Yeah, there you go. That's pretty good. The cope cage. Audrey salvages. She has found cope cage. Yeah, there you go. There you go. Yeah, that works. There's the cope cage. You get a bunch of ammo too, but now it's defended by this guy, which should be pretty dangerous. That should be a pretty dangerous fight. Especially with the reckless driving, it's going to do every other turn from turn number 1. That could be pretty nasty. Reckless driving is pretty dangerous. No, not curse mode exclusive. Okay, going to mark a note here. Okay. So added items in a boss fight to the secret area accessible with separate charges behind memorial. There we go. It does, yes. It has the same weaknesses as the APC. Okay. All right, and the last thing I want to do tonight is to add 2 or 3 more. Actually, I shouldn't do that on. I shouldn't do that while I stream. Yeah, no, these should be secret. So I'll make a note to add this just after the stream instead. Yeah. Let's not do that now. Yeah, these are all done. Oh, maybe I could use this the end of the stream here. Right. I wanted to go over some of the MUT items a little bit. And one of them was for the Venom Dagger. Did I already do that? I forget. I did give it some basic skills, but I didn't actually give it a special one yet. So let's add a special skill for the Venom Dagger. Hmm. What could it be? Something to make that dagger feel a bit more useful. Hmm. Yeah. Hmm. Oh yeah, it's that one. You're right. So what? Yeah, I think I'm gonna make it that it's gonna be an attack that gets a huge boost on a poisoned opponent, and that boost is gonna be based on luck. Luck is kind of a weird stat to boost, but anything that can get a huge boost from it, I think is gonna be pretty good. So poison. Poison is 4. to call that? Hmm. Catalyst? Yeah, that could be it. Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, all the things coming to mind are very generic. Could be just looking for something a bit more evocative here for a name. Belladonna's pretty good. Hemlock, yeah, yeah. Hmm. I think I think maybe Hemlock. Not even Hemlock Attack, or no, just calling it Hemlock. Kind of like that. Attack. Small chance to cause paralysis. That's not the name of the weapon, it's the name of the attack. Boosted by users' luck. May cause paralysis. Very deadly against poisoned targets. So, normally it's a 20% chance to do paralysis, and the damage is 5 plus your attack plus your luck minus the enemy defense. But if the target is poisoned, it multiplies your luck by 4 in that calculation. And there's also a chance that it paralyzes. I think that's pretty good. The paralysis chance is not dependent on the target being poisoned. Unfortunately, that's very difficult to do. You can actually put in like special effects in the formula, but it causes a bunch of bugs. So it's best to just have the formula contain the logic for the damage itself. Anything in the formula that applies a status effect or something like that, like causes a bunch of bugs. Because it's not expected. You can technically put any logic in there, but it's not expected to do something. It's only expected to return a number. So if it does something, there's a bunch of in-game logic that starts breaking down, like when the game decides, like does like a AI to decide which move to use. It simulates the damage of a bunch of abilities to see how much damage each would do to decide which of these is most useful. And so if in the formula you make something happen, then every time it tries to test to see how much damage it would do, it's going to apply the status effect for real. So yeah, you have to be careful about putting stuff in the formula here. One way to do it could be to use a common event, but for now I'll just do that. Also, I could make it something that's hard-coded in the game's attack damage, but yeah. Is it the Bunk's jellyfish or the cone snail? But yeah, Hemlock, I think that's going to be a good attack. And now this is going to be given by the Venom Dagger, the new unique ability. There's a lot of weapons have gained new unique abilities that only appear for one weapon. Yeah, Hemlock is a new move here. And also Poison, 75% chance is pretty good. Actually, I might boost the base attack of this too. Yeah, that base attack was a little too low. And a little bit of luck too. Okay. Well, let's boost the safe hits to 4 as well. Okay, so Venom Dagger. Okay, one of them was the breastplate. The breastplate is a little too good. But no, not the fungus breastplate, the regular one. Hmm. Nah, I think the breastplate can stay like this. It is really strong, but it is really strong, but I think it's gonna stay like that. Yeah. I think maybe I could increase the cold weakness effect. No, no, it's not that it's too weak, it's too strong. I don't want to reduce the defense it gives though. So yeah, I'm gonna increase the cold witness the cold weakness effect it does. Yeah. Mostly things around the same spot, but also a few bosses. Comatus does. Maybe a higher agility drop, yeah. Yeah, -8 agility certainly hurts more. Yeah, there you go. I think that works. Okay, the trauma kit needs a little boost, I think. I'm not sure. Do people agree on that? That the trauma kit needs a little bit more to be more useful? This is staunch wounds. How much do people use the trauma kit? Yeah, it's the amount of heals. It depends on how wounded the target is. Let's make a tweak to that. Okay, staunch wounds. There you go. So right now, if the target's HP is less than 1/5, then the healing is 8 plus 60%. So it's gonna heal by 60% of the max HP if someone is like almost dead. Someone is like, yeah, like almost dead, it's a huge heal. I think I might boost the base heal of it. So how about it's like 24 base? Yeah. Yeah, I think I'm going to boost the flat amount, but I'm not going to change. Yeah, I think I'm going to boost the flat amount, but I'm not going to change the percentage. So that means it's going to be a bit more like useful in general on characters that have low max HP. Yeah. On Audrey, this is gonna because any percentage based healing is gonna be huge for Audrey. But yeah, right now that does make it very, very like that makes it not so useful on characters with less HP. And here, so 2/5.
No, it's time to stretch.
2/5 of max health heals by 40% plus 6. I'm going to make it 40% plus 12. And plus 8 and plus 4. Or how about it's actually the flat amount is always 24. Yeah, how about the flat amount is always 24 and is the percentage amount that changes. So that should give a good like minimum to that makes it still kind of useful. Even on someone that's full. It's just less useful, you know? Yeah, like 24 I think is going to be a good minimum. It's not really exactly worth it. Like 24 plus 5% on a character that's, you know, like that's going to top him up, but that's not really going to be worth the stamina expense, I think. Combat Medic instead is, I mean, I should probably go over those as well. Combat Medic is a flat healing. That's a third, I think. I think it's a third of HP, is it? But it has a chance to cause bleeding. No, 25% life, but has a 25% chance to cause bleeding. So it's a percentage heal, which is good. But has a chance to cause bleeding. But also it works no matter what the HP is. And Staunch Wounds, in comparison, costs more. It costs 10 MP, not much more, but it still costs more. But also Staunch Wounds require you to have equipment on you, which is the bigger thing. Right, Staunch Wounds takes your accessory slot, which is the bigger cost of the two parts. Like, you need to dedicate a character. In a way, you're kind of dedicating a character to healing, you know, if you want to use Staunch Wounds. But the potential healing is huge. So it's like an accessory you give someone to make them the dedicated healer, right? It also drops agility, yeah. So yeah, the video game one is a bit more easily usable because, you know, it doesn't require gear, but the maximum it can heal is a lot lower. It's just 25%. So 25% is not, you know. Oh, hey there, Mara. Thanks for the gifted subs. But yeah. So Staunch Wounds is something you can give to anyone, but it takes an accessory slot. But it potentially heals a lot more. Like, I mean, healing someone by 60% of their health in battle is a big deal. And 40%, like, you know, as long as you use it when someone is actually pretty hurt, you know, as long as you use it when someone is pretty hurt, it makes a pretty big difference. But yeah, it does take an accessory slot for it. I think the two are pretty. I think the two are pretty well balanced together. This one's a little better, as at least has the potential to be better, but it's a little more expensive and takes away something. The other one is, is a little bit more reliable because it heals a flat amount no matter the target's state, but it doesn't boost further, and it's a little cheaper. So yeah, they're just two kind of different options. And of course, one of them can only be given to Sam, and Sam might have better uses for his abilities, while the backpack you can give to basically anyone. So you can turn anyone into a healer using that backpack. So I think I'm okay with that. I think this works. Okay. Oh yes, the coffee machine. The coffee machine. So the coffee machine is really good, but it is very expensive, right? It's one of the more expensive things you can buy. But it's really good is the thing. But yeah, the problem is that it's so good that it's like when it shows up in the shop, I think pretty much everyone buys it, right? Like it's so good. It basically solves your stamina problems, right? I mean, it's not a complete solve, but it's close. Like you start to really accumulate the coffee. Um, yeah. Now I forget. Did I actually implement the thing where if you have a hot coffee and then you go to sleep, it turns into cold coffee? Because I know that was the point at one point, but I forgot if I actually put that in. So does coffee actually turn into cold coffee overnight, or can you accumulate hot coffee right now? It doesn't actually apply to the coffee machine coffee. It only applied to stuff from the ground floor hall. Wait, doesn't that? I thought those two actually gave the same stuff. Hang on. I thought the two gave the same. Don't the two actually give the same item? The two give the same item. Yeah, coffee is supposed to turn into cold coffee overnight. Um, okay, maybe that doesn't work. Let's fix it then. Yeah, that was actually supposed to be so that you can't just accumulate coffee forever, right? Okay, yeah, so maybe that part just doesn't work right now. Let's fix that. Kind of like how like leftovers turn into old leftovers overnight, right? Yes, yes, it's worse. Not by much. I mean, it is. No, it is very much worse. Regular coffee is 30 stamina, and cold coffee is 15. So it loses half its effectiveness after the first day. That's the idea. So it's still good, but that makes it something that's a bit less like it doesn't break the like 15 stamina is still really good, but it's not as good in battle, especially. It's still a good amount of extra stamina healing between battles. But I think importantly, it doesn't feel like it's a full refill. So it feels like it's a bit more of an expensive turn to spend that. No, I think the vending machine coffee should be the same item. I'm pretty sure it's the exact same item. No, I'm not gonna change the coffee machine price. Um, I'm not gonna change the coffee machine price. And I like coffee being that good. I think it's really like once you buy that coffee machine, like it's a huge deal. I like that feeling that oh shit, that changes everything. You know, like you get that huge boost every day. I think that's just really good. Um, but yes, I definitely want to make it that you can't just accumulate. You can't just accumulate coffee like that. You know. So let's just make sure. I thought I had put that in. I really thought I did. I really thought I put in the coffee going cold thing. But I guess I didn't. Like that's the reason I added a cold coffee thing. But I guess I put it into that one room as a single item and then just kind of forgot to set it up for the actual thing it's for. It happens. Is it on sleeping that it happens? Hang on. There's leftovers rot when you sleep. That's when you sleep, though. It's not when time passes. So if you never sleep, leftovers never actually go bad, which is kind of funny. Yeah, I guess I never actually did that. Hmm. Yeah, I mean that was basically the nerf, was to make sure that that the coffee machine works properly. Hmm. Now here's a Yeah, hang on. Yeah, this gives you the coffee. I think it's gonna be when you sleep again. Yeah, I think the coffee is gonna go cold when you sleep. Yeah. Yeah, I think it's gonna be. Although with coffee, for the most part, with coffee, hmm. No, yeah, it's gonna be when you sleep. Yeah. Um. Actually, I could put it wherever I put the logic for the coffee to reset, the coffee machine to reset to give you more. Yeah, why not use that instead? With the right now I did implement it like this, that if the power has been out for too long, you get cold coffee from the coffee machine instead. I forgot that. So I did actually use cold coffee here in that way. So got coffee. Where did I put got coffee? Yeah, 196. 196. I didn't want to give like too much detail about Sam's family. So again, it's part of making Sam be sort of a stand-in for you, you know? You kind of meant to you know, project your own feelings on there. So New Day 6. The number of coffee. There you go. So now, yeah, on the new day, so whenever it reaches 4 a.m., if you have any coffee, it turns to cold coffee. There you go. There you go. Yep. All coffee in inventory, including coffee you get at the coffee machine, which doesn't make too much sense, but there's no way to separate them. I could maybe make a separate coffee item for those to separate them, but oh, thank you, John. Appreciate that. Okay, there's one oh yeah, there's something for the lockpicks, but I think I'll probably do that on my own time. Yeah, I wanted to give a small nerf to how lockpicks work, but we'll see. Yeah, potentially just a little lockpick nerf. I mean, originally I had I actually wanted to nerf the lockpicks a long time ago. I basically wanted I wanted it to be like that that you have a number of uses of the lockpick that are just like, you know, normal. And then after a number of uses, after this point, every time you use them again, there's a chance they break. That was at one point the idea for the lockpicks. And part of the reason for this is that it would depend on the difficulty level. So on easy mode, it would never break. On normal mode, it would break after 10 uses. Like it would have a chance to, it would start to have a chance to break after 10 uses. So that's, you know, that's basically half of the games. I forget how many actual uses of the lockpick there are. And then on cursed mode, it would be like maybe after 4. After 4 locks. Now after that, there will be like a dice roll every time to see if the lockpick breaks. But yeah, I was thinking, you know, that's the kind of thing where, because again, the goal of this balance of these items is to make it that none of these items is a guaranteed buy, right? And I feel like that would be the only way to make the lockpick not a guaranteed buy. That like it's essentially, instead of just making it you never need to use a small key ever again, it's more like, okay, you know, it's like worth a number of keys. You're like buying a number of keys, and the number of keys it's worth is like kind of a question mark, you know? So that makes it a bit less of a slam dunk to buy it every time. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, I want to avoid things feeling like a required item. Um, and that would help. That would help in making it no longer feel like a required item. If it's just not a, you know, full guaranteed, never need to use a key ever again, you know? That's the like the problem with it. Because yeah, right now I feel like if you see the lockpick show up, you buy it. Like there's no, the only reason you don't buy it is if you literally can't afford it and it's cheap. So yeah, that was the idea. Is that it's not a specific number of uses. It's a number of safe uses, and then after that, every time you use it, it's like a 15% chance that it breaks or something like that. Um, and also, yeah, that's that's something I've been thinking of for the lockpick. Um, to just make it, yeah, a little bit less of a slam dunk to absolutely get it every time you see it. Um, yeah. So yeah, I'm thinking I should do that. But yeah, like I said, this was originally that was the plan specifically for curse mode. But I might just make it not just a curse mode thing, but just how lockpicks work. But depending on the difficulty levels, you know, the number of times, the number of safe uses before it starts rolling would change. And on easy mode, it would basically be a non-issue. Um, normal on Survivor, it's a bit of an issue, but you still have enough uses that it's always going to be worth it at least. But eventually, you do have to go back to using keys if you unlock every all the safes. And on curse mode, you don't know if it's going to be worth it, you know? Like, it's a little bit of a, you know, you're essentially just buying a number of keys and you don't know how many, right? It's still useful, but, you know, if you're unlucky, right? And yeah, and then Kaylee can compensate if you run out of keys. Yeah, yeah. Let's put that in. Let's do that. Um, Yeah, no, they don't break right now. That was an idea at one point, but I had not actually implemented it. Also, let's do a little stretch. Yeah, let's put that in now. Let's put that in now. Lockpick use count. It's going to increment by 1 every time you use it. Then it's going to set switch number 2 to false. And then it's going to decide whether or not it has to roll to see if the lockpick breaks. So, on easy mode. Yep, that's the idea. On easy mode, it starts rolling to see if it breaks after, let's say, after 12. So if you use the 12, which is probably more than the total number of the times you can use it. I don't know, 10. Again, I don't actually, like, I'm trying to think, how many, like, actual locks are there to use keys in? Not counting Kaylee's maze. Not counting Kaylee's maze. I feel like there's maybe... Are there like maybe 8? Yeah, 8 sounds about right. Eight safes and 2 doors, so 10. Okay. Plus, you can use it twice at Kaylee's place. And also, one of the notes I had given there is that I did actually want to add a few more safes to find. So maybe I'll do that as well. I could put some of the unused items in a few new safes. Like there's no places. I think there's only one door you can open with a simple yeah. Like from like after the yeah, it's mostly on the first third, in the first like half of the game is where most of the use of keys is. And yeah, I did make a note here that I would like to have a bit more uses for keys and the lockpicks. So yeah, adding just maybe 3 or 4 more would be nice. Yeah. Yeah, so adding just a bit more safes would probably be nice. So yeah, for now, yeah, 10 would be on easy. So on easy mode, after 10 uses of the keys, that's when it starts. You start getting these rolls. Then on normal, it's going to be after 5. So after you use it 5 times on normal mode, it starts rolling and possibly breaking. And in cursed mode, it's going to be after 2. In cursed mode, you get 2 free ones. And after that, there's a chance it breaks. So at least it's 2 keys, which is not... If you get really unlucky and it breaks on the second one, that was kind of a waste of money. You did get to... It was worth 2 keys, which is not... I mean, it's only it's not necessarily a waste of money unless you take into account that the prices of all the other items went up. Yeah, I do want to add a few more saves. And after this... If reserve 2 is on, that means it's time to roll. And here, this is going to be, yeah, 15%. So it's going to roll from 0 to 100. And if this is less or equal to 15, then the lockpicks broke. Uh-oh. So you can get lucky and they just keep working the whole time. But after a number of times, after a number of safe uses, now there's a 15% chance they break every time you use them. I think that should do... I think that should do the trick in making lockpicks feel less like an obligatory thing you absolutely have to get. Gotta tweak these to be after 8 uses on easy, 4 uses on normal, 2 uses on hard. Yeah. The lockpicks broke. There we go. It may break after a number of uses. You use them times, so it's going to keep track of how many times you've used them. Also, oh, there isn't a sprite for the lockpicks here. Weird. Did I not give them a... Did I not give them a sprite? Oh, I'll use the... Oh, there it is. there's the sprite. Okay, there we go. So lockpicks, you have used them. 885. There you go. So this is going to keep track of how many times you were able to use them before they break. All right, so that's lockpicks. Okay. Oh, the Pickelhaube. I wanted to give a small boost to the Pickelhaube. So right now the Pickelhaube is 4 defense. It increases your shooting ability by 2. Reduces agility by 2. Yeah, it does attract enemy aggro, yes. It makes the target 2 times more likely to be attacked by enemies. I mean, do people use it? Do people notice its effect, you know? Like, is it noticeable? Is it like, you know, worth? Do people actually use the Pickelhaube? It was barely noticeable. Yeah, it just makes someone 2 times more likely to be targeted. But it should be making them more likely to be targeted. Well, I could boost it a lot more. Instead of being 2 times more likely, how about it's like 3 times more likely? I mean, it's like the target rate is like a built-in RPG Maker system, you know? So if it's not working, then it's like a problem with RPG Maker. It's not like something I programmed in. Like target rate is just supposed to be for that specific purpose. But yeah, 2 times target rate isn't that big a deal. Like I don't know when games do something like this, how much do they normally change the rate, you know? Maybe 2 times is actually not that noticeable in like a party of 4, right? Like 2 times means like most of the time others still get attacked, right? Like in a party of 4, if one of the 4 characters is twice as likely to be hit, they're still not going to be mostly attacked, you know? You know, if it's a designated, if it's like a taunt, usually it's going to be a huge amount, like 10 times or something. But for a passive armor, I feel like it can't be that. It can't be like that. Yeah. So I made it 3 times instead of 2 times. 3 times here instead of 2 times. And there's also, oh, I should actually make it mention. Resists Crushing and stun damage. That was always there, I just didn't mention it. That's a good thing to know. Especially since crushing damage, like that is just a flat 20% reduction to most attacks. Because most enemy attacks, I think, are crushing. That's like the most common damage type. The monsters in the top right corner are from Malison, my main project that I set aside to work on Look Outside. Okay, so yeah, little boost to Pickelhaub. A little boost to Pickelhaub. Oh yes, okay. Crossbow. Does anyone actually use the crossbow bolts? The special, like the crossbow and the special bolts? I was thinking of maybe trying to implement something from Malison here, where crossbow bolts have a chance of being retrieved. Like you have a chance to get some like special crossbow bolts back. Yeah, is it too weak? Hmm. Yeah, so crossbow bolt is just the the regular M attack. Flame bolt adds 40. They all add 40. Explosive bolt adds 80. Actually, I forget if I changed these. I might have actually already changed these. I feel like I remember going over these and making changes. The normal bolts are useless. I mean, those just supposed to be regular attacks. Those are just supposed to be regular attacks, you know. Like that's just the regular bullets. If you just want to do bullet damage, essentially. Um, I could make it one-handed, the crossbow. Yeah. Maybe making it two-handed makes it less useful. How about that's the... Yeah, that could be... That could be a little boost there, you know? Like think of it as a hand crossbow. Hmm. Yeah, let's make it one-handed. Let's make it one-handed. Yeah. And I could increase the... I could tweak the price of the special bolts a bit. Explosive, I mean, the special bolts are not that expensive. 6, I mean, for the standard bolts, that might be a little expensive. I get like 4. The explosive bolts are pretty pricey. Let's make the standard 4, the flame bolts 8, the acid bolts 10, the explosive bolts... Let's keep the explosive bolts 24 and let's make them stronger. Because I like one of them being like... I kind of like one of the bolt types being way stronger than the others. And not just be like just a variant, you know? So I kind of like this one being much more expensive. And like, you know, you kind of want to... Yeah, let's make the explosive bolt still like 25. For 8, 10, maybe 12 for the acid bolt, then explosive 25. And then let's tweak these a little bit. So regular crossbow bolt is just regular here. Flame bolt 40. I'm gonna make the acid bolt do 50 damage instead of 40 here. An explosive bolt, instead of 80, it's gonna be 120. There you go. So 120 plus actually, you know what? Plus... Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, 120, so I boosted the explosive bolt without reducing its cost. Boosted the acid bolt a little bit, reduced the flame bolt cost, and reduced the regular crossbow bolt cost. Okay. And now I'm gonna go check Mutt's inventory and tweak the stock of those so you can get a bit more. Well, I just tweaked those to be a little bit less OP. Jonathan? So hopefully that's gonna be... There's gonna be a bit more balance there. So the regular bolts... there's 40 by default. So you find 40 regular bolts by default at the shop. Does that feel like it's too little? Also, you do get more. Like when you initially get it, I think you get 20 bolts. I think you get 20 bolts for free and you can buy 40 more. I feel like that's fine for the regular bolts. I feel like that's fine. Now the fire bolts, there's only 10. They don't actually restock, I don't think. I should probably make them restock. At least a little bit. So here's the firebolts. The firebolts, there's only 10. Let's boost the firebolts to 20. Let's boost the acid bolts to 20. And let's boost the explosive bolts. I kind of want to leave them at 5. They do a lot of damage. They do a lot of damage, those. So I kind of like keeping those. Yeah, I just boosted them a little bit stronger. And the other ones also a little bit better. Yeah, I think I'm going to leave the... I'm going to leave the explosive bolts as there's just 5 you can find. That you can buy. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, so now Flame Bolt is the same. It's just a bit cheaper now, but hasn't changed. It does 40 damage, 40 extra damage on top of the normal crossbow attack power. And now you can get twice as many. Acid Bolt, you can now get twice as many. It has the same price as before, while the Flame Bolts went down a bit. But its damage went up a little bit. And now you can buy twice as many. Explosive Bolts, I made it stronger. I kept the original price, but made it stronger. It was 80 plus regular like ballistics. Now it's 120 plus ballistics, but there's still just 5 of them. So you want to be careful about when you use them. And also 80% chance to stun is really good. There's not a lot of things that has such a high chance to stun. 80% chance of stun is very, very good. And also, the crossbow is now a one-handed weapon. Yeah. Alright, so I think that should make the crossbow more useful. Mm-hmm. Well, now it should have, the extra damage from it should make a good difference. Yeah, I think, it's especially the stun chance. Maybe I should actually mention that it's not just may stun the target, it's high chance. High chance to stun the target is kind of important to specify there. It's like 80%. There's not a lot of things that have an 80% stun chance. Most things usually it's like 40% stun. Yeah. All right, so that should make this more useful. There we go. Okay, that was all of the MUT items I wanted to give a tweak to. So the lockpicks got a huge nerf, I think. Well, it depends on the difficulty level. But I also want to add more places to use small keys and the lockpicks. So in a sense that makes them more useful. Oh yeah, the chainsaw. Actually, the chainsaw. So wait, do we have some... So I made a note here that last time I asked about the chainsaw, people seem to think it was fine. Is it fine? How much are people actually using the chainsaw? Yes, these have already been tweaked. The red belt is now much weaker. There was a big nerf on the red belt. It's been a little while now. That was like last month that I made that change. So I basically, instead of doubling the HP, now it adds 50% HP. With the same halving of MP, of stamina. So now it adds half as much. It's still probably worth it. But it's a little bit less broken that way. And Comfort Belt, similarly, understands that the HP boost is more valuable. So Comfort Belt doubles stamina and reduces HP by 25%. So basically I've retweaked these to sort of acknowledge that the percentage changes are more valuable for HP than stamina. Yeah. And the champion belt, I think... Yes, I already boosted that one. That it actually boosts maximum HP and stamina by 20% each. And also gives a little boost on all stats. I think it didn't use to boost HP and MP at all, right? It's like a smaller boost, but to both, and plus like a little boost on everything. So champion belt should be a lot better now. I don't think it actually had the HP and stamina boost before, right? If I remember, I think it just boosted all stats. Now it should be a little better. Champion belt, it boosted HP. Maybe I just I don't know. I forget exactly what changed. I just see here that I put a note that said I already boosted that. maybe I just increased the amount that it boosts. But yeah, there you go. So yeah, again, just trying to make some tweaks here to just, to remove the slam dunks as much as I can, and also make sure everything kind of has a use. So I think this should be good. Yeah. Venom Dagger was definitely the least useful item before. I think that definitely does it some good. Gave it a little extra boost to attack, gave it a unique skill. And also made it that it should be more sturdy, it should last a little longer. Yeah, now Venom Dagger has a new ability that works well with its own poison thing. So if poison ever procs on an enemy, the Venom Dagger now has an ability called Hemlock that does a lot of extra damage on any target that's poisoned. And that extra damage is especially scales to your luck. So if you can boost a character's luck, they're going to do a lot of damage. It's not poisonous in the current delete. Oh, was that actually a bug? That it was not actually dealing poison? That's funny. And also Hemlock has a chance to do paralysis, which is really strong. So yeah, Hemlock hopefully should make that weapon a lot better. Also has higher attack than before. It also boosts luck a little bit. So there you go. Oh yeah, was it boosting your attack? Was it boosting your poison resistance? Yeah. Okay. There you go. Now it should actually be dealing poison. Yeah. Oh, is Stain Chi is also doing that? It's possible. Yep. Yep. It is. You're right. It is. This one's much stronger, so I feel like the poison rate should be lower than the dagger. Yeah, I'll make the poison rate a little bit lower than the dagger for this one. 60%. Because, yeah, the main damage here is a lot stronger. So there we go. There's the fix. Yeah, the cattle prod. Is it because the cattle prod, like, you just find... Is it that, like, you just get lucky and it never, like, breaks? Because it's supposed to lose, you're supposed to use some batteries to repair it, but I guess maybe there's just so many batteries that it's never a problem. Yeah, cattle prod is definitely the kind of thing I want it to be very powerful, but have kind of a limited number of uses because of the batteries thing. Yes. Yes. Luck should affect every luck should be affecting anything that has like a durability roll thing. Yep. Oh, jump attacks. Yeah, jump attacks skipped yeah, the durability roll, right. Yeah. All right, cool. Well, I'm happy with this. Yeah, went over a bunch of things I wanted to do. Went over a whole bunch of things I wanted to do. Very nice. There's a few things I want to do after the stream. But for now, though, that's going to be it for the stream tonight. So, well, so I had other notes of like items that were fine that didn't need changing, like yeah, like the chainsaw I marked as being okay, as not needing an adjustment. And there's a few that I already made some nerfs to and some tweaks to. But yeah, kettle prod, spear, stun baton, both seem to be fine. And the chainsaw seemed to be good. And then there's some, yeah, it's all good. All right. Yeah, thank you all for watching, folks. Before I go, let me just quickly link my Patreon. Please have a look. Thank you. And let's look for someone to raid on Twitch. Let's see. Do we got somebody? Okay, okay. Let's raid Camera Core. Yeah, Camera Core. I don't think we've raided them before.
He's a party member.
All right. Thank you all for watching. And take care.
I have a fucking full house. I'll jump that cloud.